People have asked, what broadheads do I use? I want to be clear that I use the X-Act broadhead from Excalibur, 100 grain broadhead, mechanical broadhead. I use that because that is what my manufacturer creates, recommends, is tested with my crossbow. Sounds boring. I know everybody's like, well, you know, can't you use these other fancy ones? But these work for me. They have not let me down, and that's the reason I will continue to use them. This is just a 100 grain mechanical 3-blade broadhead. I really like them because of the chisel tip. I really like that, and I like the fold out design where they fold out from the front down. That just makes more sense to me, but these are what the manufacturer recommends, so that's the reason I use them. In my experience, and in all of my tests, these little broadheads do fly pretty close to what the field points do. I'm pretty confident when I go out there that this broadhead is going to end up hitting the target right where my field point would typically do that. So I practice with the field points. Make sure that your broadhead, that these are 100 grain, make sure you're using 100 grain field points if that's the case. If you're using 125 grain or a 150 grain mechanical broadhead, make sure you're using a 125 grain or 150 grain field point to practice with. Once you've assured yourself that your mechanical broadhead is going to fly the same as a field point, then you don't have to do that anymore. Then basically you can just stick with that same brand and you should be okay. I mentioned this before on here, but I keep all of my field points, all of my mechanical broadheads, and my small game points all in a little fishing tackle box with different compartments. And it works great, protects them, that way I can travel with them. If you're a little nervous though, and you want to keep having a practice broadhead, here's a little tip. One thing you can do is you can open up these blades after you've used one of these broadheads, and if you're confident you can't reuse it, I've done another video on you reusing crossbow broadheads, when you would want to do that and when you would not. But if it's something where you don't think you're going to reuse that broadhead, you can glue these various blades shut and use it as a practice point. To do that, I just put a little bit of super glue in each one of the slots, close the blade, leave it there, and then come back later and they're sealed up. And it works pretty good as a practice point. And it's basically the same weight. Don't put on too much glue, because too much glue can add weight and that could affect your accuracy. That's a neat little tip, a way to turn your mechanical broadhead into a field point, into a practice point. Give it a try and let me know how you make out.